Well, hello there everyone. Believe it or not, you're watching Music as a Journey, but this is, as usual, Peter's Cove. So, today I'm going to be saying goodbye to an old friend. This is my 4x5 view camera, which I bought back in 2007. It's a Tachihara made with 400-year-old cherry wood, as they said. I used this camera only from 2007 to 2010, end of 2010. And after that, the type of film that I was using for it was discontinued. Now, the actual sheet film that is required, well, I don't know if they still make it, but I have some boxes of it that I never used. But it was a special type of sheet film, specially prepared sheet film I used. And it's just not available. They ceased making it somewhere around the end of 2010, so when I went to buy some more in 2011, I was told that it was no longer available. So as you're familiar with, maybe, these are the older type of cameras where you have to do the shutter release. It's from up here in the front. Put the cable release in here, or you release the shutter here, you cock the shutter up here, do all your settings on there. The film actually goes into this slot here in the back. You have a special holder and you pop it in there. You first of all have to compose your image looking at this, and as you can see, there's a lot of reflection on the back here. You cannot actually see what the lens is seeing, so you have to put a cloth over top and keep yourself covered so you get darkness and you can see the image much better. Some of the great advantages of using these cameras is that the lenses can let's see. Well, of course, yes. Here's an example. We can tilt the lens. Now I've actually got it locked up. So, just a moment here. So first of all, one thing you can do is you can actually tilt the lens backwards, and it also tilts forward with these little. Here we go. Well, obviously I haven't used it for a while, but yes, it is possible to tilt the lens forwards and backwards. Also, the lens can swivel. I don't remember how I did this now. I think I had to turn this one here. Oh, there we go, yes. You can see the lens can swivel from side to side. And as well, the back here where the film goes in can also be used to tilt back and forth and swivel side to side. And the advantage to this is what you've got is the film plane. That is where the plane here behind the lens and the plane of the film are lined up parallel, which is how cameras generally work, which means that whatever is focused on the one plane here in front is exactly what's focused on the back. This, however, is difficult when you're shooting landscapes, when you want to have something in the foreground very sharp and something in the background very sharp. You cannot get the range of focus that's required for that. So by either swiveling the lens this way and that way, or swiveling the back, or also, for example, for up and down, tilting the lens, or even, sorry, that's right, up and down, you can actually adjust so that the focusing plane actually changes. And that means that when you've got something in the foreground you want to have sharp, but something in the background you want to have sharp, by tilting the lens forward, you actually make that focus plane this way so that the object in the foreground and the background then become focused. This works really well for landscape photography, and also because the film size of this is 4x5 inches, you get a postcard-sized negative or positive, which means that for enlargement, you can enlarge them up to great size and still maintain a lot of the detail. So I was a big fan of a lot of large format photographers. We'll take a look at some books in a moment. And so this camera I bought exactly because I wanted to try to do the same thing myself, which I did. And it turns out it is not an easy camera to use, because it takes a lot of time making sure that the focus is just right. And of course you have to do it under the cloth, and sometimes with a loop, looking through the loop to make sure everything is in focus. I did actually get a fantastic mountain photograph from the top of a mountain at sunrise one time, and then found that the left side of the image was out of focus because the lens was slightly swiveled to one side and I wasn't aware of it. So it is it takes some time to get used to using, and setting up for a photograph can take anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes depending on the nature of the image, how much tilt and swivel and shift and so on you need to do. So it is a difficult camera to use, and also the film takes a lot of time to prepare and is rather bulky to carry around too. However, I was using a special type of film. I'll show you the holder in a moment too. That special holder made it possible for me to bring a lot more pictures with me, and for a slightly higher cost, suffer a lot fewer mistakes. Well, anyway, this little baby here is going to be packed up along with 2 lenses and some other accessories, and it's going to be sent off today to someone who bought it over an online flea market. All right, let's go inside. So here she is, all folded up nice like this. There's the focusing glass and everything. Pretty compact. I'll show you the really wonderful thing here, the Fujifilm quick load thing. This was such an easy thing to use. You just had the film, one sheet of film was in an envelope, and you would just shove it in here, click it into place. Once you'd composed everything and everything was ready to go, you'd slip this into the back, drop the film envelope in. I think you'd pull something and lift the envelope cover off so that the film would be exposed in here. Click the shutter release to expose the film. Once you were done, you'd shove the envelope back down again, click something and remove it, and your exposure was done. It was really super easy. The more traditional way to do it is to have a film cartridge where you put 2 sheets of film in, 1 on each side. But you have to do it all in the dark. Load each sheet of film in individually. You have to make sure it's turned the right way around, that you don't get any dust in, that the cover is all locked into place again to protect it from light leaking. And then you have 1 cartridge with 2 shots. So, you know, if you want to do 10 shots, you've got to bring 5 cartridges. If you want to do 20 shots, you've got to bring 10 cartridges, which is a lot of stuff to carry around, especially when you're backpacking through the mountains. So this was really super handy for that kind of thing. Okay, let's put this off to the side. Next part, I just want to show some of my favorite large format photography books. These are massive coffee table books here. This is Drylands, Deserts of North America, Photographs and Text by Philip Hyde. Philip Hyde was one of the large format photographers there from the 1950s and 1960s. Contemporary photographer alongside Ansel Adams, who of course was shooting primarily black and white, and Eliot Porter. I don't know. So anyway, stuff like this here. Now it's kind of hard to show this. I don't know, is this even getting in the frame? It's kind of hard to show this massive book, but yeah, loved a lot of Philip Hyde stuff. Mostly it was just books I borrowed from the library, so to actually get a hold of a real book somewhere, it was a pretty expensive affair and not so easy. Sometimes, I guess because, you know, I lived in Surrey, which was on the border to Washington State, it was sometimes I just had to drive down over the border to pick up stuff from a bookstore in the US. So this is the Sonoran Desert, Arizona, California, Mexico, photographs by Jack Dakinga. Let's see here. Anyway, images like this. I mean, you know, you look at what people are putting on Instagram these days with all the post-processing they're doing and everything. A lot of it looks more like movie posters than anything else, I think. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So, yeah, no, I really dig the large format approach. I think it's really cool, and the results when you get them good are fantastic. Here's the guy who got me into large format photography. This is Eliot Porter. It's thanks to him that I wanted a large format camera, and I bought this book back in 1990. I had to drive down to Bellingham to buy it in a bookstore there, the West. And I love this book. This was one of my favorite books there. Just like really natural stuff, like you could just get out and just walk across the landscape and set up your camera and grab shots, you know. And Eliot Porter would do landscapes, but he'd also do more intimate stuff like you see on the other side here. So yeah, I really loved his stuff. I think I must have about 8 of his books over on the bookshelf there. He went to Antarctica in '75. He went to China in 1980. He went to Iceland. Here's Scott Freeman, New Zealand photographs. I picked this up. I think it was my first visit to New Zealand.
yeah, again, I just really love what's possible with the large format camera. I mean, these days you can do it with regular stuff. You do all this like photo stacking with different focus settings, you know, but with the large format, you can just, you know, wiggle it around a little bit, twist it this way and that, and you can get some really cool shots. This book is one I love too. There's just, you know, it's like I say, you just walk down the path and wherever, and you find stuff and set up the camera and go. And then there was British Columbia, A Wild and Fragile Beauty by Graham Osborne. I actually invited him to come and do a presentation at the Surrey Camera Club, which I was a member of back in the 1990s. So yeah, unfortunately nobody bought his book at the time, but it was really great. I think he signed my copy somewhere. All right, there we go. I got him to do this. Enjoyed doing the show. Thanks for the great hospitality. Best wishes, Graham Osborne. I don't know what he's doing these days. Yeah, you can do like wonderful stuff like this with the, you know, centimeters away from the camera and then mountains far off in the distance and everything is sharp all the way through in one shot. Okay, then I guess one other thing, the last part of this video, I'm going to introduce a few songs related to photographs and pictures. So let's head on to that one now. So before we get on to the final part where I will talk about some songs related to cameras and photography, I thought I would show some of the magazines that published some of my large format photography. This is a magazine called Gakujin. It means mountain person. This issue is from September 2011. So there is an article, this is related to the earthquake and my experience with the earthquake back in 2011, of course, and they'd already done an interview with me previously, which I will show in a moment. There's a couple of photos here. This is actually a medium format photograph, and then there's some 35mm, one digital capture of me, and then this large photo on this side here. I don't know how well you can see it, but that's one that was captured with the Tachihara 4x5 camera in the North Alps of Japan. Then, let's move on to the other Gakujin magazine. This one goes back to November 2009, and I have the page marked this time, very smartly so. So, here is a photograph here. This is in a little hidden canyon area in the mountains of Saitama, which I captured with the 4x5. I was very pleased with this one because it is so clear. You can see the detail in the rocks all the way through. Really awesome. And also this here, this is a sunrise captured from the top of a mountain in the North Alps of Japan. Probably a little bit difficult to see, but anyway, also captured with the 4x5. So really pleased to have some of those photos published in Gakujin magazine. Then also there is, which is the older one here? This is the older one. This is Nippon camera, Japan camera. This is February 2010. And my portfolio is the very first one to show up. This is New Zealand photographs from my trip to New Zealand in 2008. So yeah, we had one of Aoraki, Mount Cook there, and from Lindis Pass, also from Mount Sefton near Aoraki in the Southern Alps of New Zealand. Two shots here from, I forget what it was called now. It's called Sugarloaf Mountain and Mount Cass from Andrews Valley, that's right, in Arthur's Pass National Park. So two shots from the same view, just one as the sun was coming up and one after the sun had come up and the fog had dissipated. And a couple of more here from, let me see here, Ben Avon Scenic Reserve, Ahuriri River Valley, and a gum tree near Lake Barrymore in Canterbury. So again, some of my large format photographs. That was actually one advantage to getting published in magazines in Japan, was having large format landscapes, because by this time here already, 2010, 2011, what is this one here? This one is 2013, June 2013. A lot of people are sending in digital photographs, and the large format and medium format landscape photographers had dwindled, although in mountain photography there's still, at least at the time, there were still a lot of people doing that. In fact, When I joined the All Japan Alpine Photography Association, most people were shooting medium or large format. However, when I joined the Society for Scientific Photography, most people were shooting digital. But that's because they were shooting scenes like an insect taking off and peeing as it took off, or a bat catching an insect. So they were shooting like thousands of frames, one after the other. I'm trying to find what page I'm on in here. Oh, there we go, there we go. This is it, yeah. So, in the June 2013 issue of Nippon Camera, these are my photographs from Bryce Canyon. I went to my sister's wedding in Las Vegas and then took a couple of days to drive out somewhere. So we got Bryce Canyon, I think this is Valley of Fire, this is Zion, although the Zion one I think is actually, probably it's a medium format, but the other two here are definitely large format. We got one other one here, this is also the beehives in Valley of Fire National Park in Nevada, which is also a large format photograph. So that, and then I did use some of my large format photographs in my book of the Japan Alps, which you can find at blurb.com. Go to blurb.com, search for my name in the bookstore section, Peter Scove, and you will see my books that I've published, but the Japan Alps one was the only one that actually used some of my large format. The rest of it, I think, is either 35mm or digital. So, moving on to some songs then, because this is Music is a Journey. So let's take a look at from Def Leppard's Pyromania, their big hit album of 1983. There is a song on here, track number 2, called Photograph. And actually this remains one of my favorite songs from this album, not because I was interested in photography at the time. Back in 1983 I was 12. I had no interest in photography, but I've always loved this song here. So Def Leppard, Photograph. Then, probably also some of you are thinking of the Yes Drama album with the song Into the Lens. Honestly, Into the Lens is probably one of my least favorite tracks on the album. I don't particularly like the line, I am a camera, or whatever, however it goes. But yeah, otherwise a great album, and, well, Into the Lens. Hey, it's about cameras and photography, so let's include that. And probably some of you are also thinking, how about The Camera Eye by Rush from the Moving Pictures album? Yes, The Camera Eye, one of their last, I think their last actually really long track, and I can't see, it's just over 10 minutes, 10 minutes and 56 seconds. I think that's the last song they did of over 10 minutes length. First 5 tracks on this album, all really brilliant, I think. The last 2, kind of just so-so for me, but up from Tom Sawyer to The Camera Eye, I think it is a great, great album. And The Camera Eye, I've always loved the guitar sound, as well as Alex Lifeson's guitar solo in that. I thought with the kind of pinched notes, sounds really cool. Okay, something I've never done, but that is take pictures with a Polaroid. This is Spirit of the West from their Go Figure album. I think this is 1990 or 91. There's a song on here called Polaroid, which is one of my favorites of the album. Actually because of its more kind of sinister feel to it, and the song is actually about a first-time father who sees a newspaper headline about a missing child. And he doesn't specifically say a missing child, but the way the lyrics go, you know, monsters are for real, and white t-shirt, pink dress, no shoes. The song is obviously telling about a child gone missing, and as a first-time father, how that hits him. And the image that is in the newspaper is from a grainy Polaroid. So, wonderful song, and great album, Spirit of the West. This one just came to me. I think I said I was going to do 5 songs, but it's going to be 6. I just got this earlier this year. This is Frank Soda and the Imps, and there's a song on here called Take My Picture. Take my picture, please. And apparently for the live performances, he actually had this working camera designed to fit on or over his head so that he was a camera, and then he would take a photograph of the audience. Somehow that worked anyway, he did that. This goes back to 1980 or, yeah, 1980. Yes, it is. Okay, so Frank Soda, Take My Picture, please. Indeed, Take My Picture, please. And then one more. Actually, I have not listened to this album for some years now. This is a duo, a singular person with, I don't know, 2 people as far as I know. It should be 2 people. They're not on the back, they're inside. This is an outfit called Coloratura. And I think this was their first album, Unfamiliar Skies. They have just announced the release of a new album, I think it is. Or it is a previous album that is now being issued on vinyl. I forget what it was now. Maybe that's what it was. Last year's album has been reissued as a vinyl release, has been issued as a vinyl release. They have, I think, 3 or 4 albums now. So this is a progressive rock band. Mostly it is one guy who's doing the songwriting and a lot of the music playing, and then the other guy is playing flute, as well as I think a couple of other instruments, and then he has the recording studio that recorded everything. So that is Coloratura, and there is a song on here called Photograph. Now, I actually had every intention to listen to this song before making this video. However, the way things have turned out, making this video came up before I had a chance to listen to the song. But I do recall this is a really cool album, and way back in the early episodes, somewhere around maybe episode 5, 6, 7, around that time of Music is a Journey, way back in 2018, I actually talked about this album and was able to feature some clips of the music from this album with permission from Ian Beabout, who is the producer, recording engineer person, and flautist on the album, as well as perhaps some other things too. So there you go, some songs about photographs, photography, and cameras, and goodbye to my 4x5 camera, which I wanted for so long. But I just do not foresee that I will have any chance to use it. I've been keeping it now for so many years, and it seems that it's just getting more and more difficult to buy film and get film developed and get prints made from film. Everything is geared towards digital photography today, so large format film photography has really become like a niche type thing. So yeah, we say goodbye and pay some bills. Okay, everybody, that turned out to be a rather long video, but if you watched, thank you so much. If you didn't, then you're not going to hear me say this. Okay, anyway, I'll be back with a music video, very soon, probably next weekend. Alright, thanks everyone. Take care. Bye.